woefully misjudged the budget for this pay period. Oh my God. It's like, it's because the price has gone up on everything and I can't break out of my regular spending habits. Like, you know, I go into a store, grab a coffee, grab this, grab that, the regular stuff you buy. Whereas it used to be like you'd pop into like a store, really any store, to get a couple items. It'd always be like $20 no matter what. Now it's like $40 no matter what. So the thing is, it's like I gotta.
Yes, you see,
try to get it in my head that I gotta change my lifestyle a lot. You know, because it's what used to be possible is now like unaffordable, and we've made more money now, like than we used to before. When we made less money before, it seemed like we could have everything we wanted. We go shopping, go fucking out of the mall. You know, we don't do that anymore at all. And it's one thing, like the inflation is one thing, but everything's gotten smaller. I mean, everything, the packages on everything is tiny. It's half size or smaller count, which means you got to buy more at the inflated price. I don't think we've ever seen something like this happen in America. This kind of, I guess you'd call it inflation, right? I mean, we've had periods where it was like bad. You know, I'm thinking parts of the 90s, ends of the 70s, as far as inflation, prices going up on stuff, but never like this. Never like this. You know, this is a whole new frontier. Just getting us closer to that world where we're all fenced in to camps, and that's all it is. That's all it is. Getting us closer to that. That's ultimately, but it's about cattle management. It's about cattle management, and they see us as the cattle. So the easier they can farm us, and the closer they can get us together, that's the whole game, you know. And then get rid of the ones they don't need. There's gonna be a lot of, you know, they got to get rid of a lot of. They already are getting rid of a lot of us. They got rid of a lot of us already. They can't tell who the 95% is and who the 5% is. We can. I can. You know, if you give me a few minutes with a person. They can't tell. That's why there's stuff like the gig program and some of the things that we did as kids. Because they're trying to figure out who the 5% are. You know, who's connected to God, who has divinity, who will one day grow up to understand that there's a spiritual war going on, threats to them. They want to isolate possible threats when we're as young as possible. That's what all that shit is about. And in some cases, you get tagged and bagged, like me, not bagged now. They tag you and they throw you out back into the wild, but they keep tabs on you in various ways. For some reason, I feel like the older I get, the more tabs they want to keep on me. It's kind of weird, whatever.
Part of the same biomass processing system. For what purpose? Well, that is quite the question. Repulsive, yes, but quite fascinating.
Run to the jungle! Like this little thing here. It's kind of, the trees are kind of thinning out. This used to be way more full, that whole thing. Sort of crystal place up. Yeah, that's ultimately what it's all about. I saw people were talking the other day on X, not Twitter, but X, the good X, the 4chan X. And the subject was, okay, what is this place? Is it a school or is it a prison? I just jump in and explain everything, like I do. That's all I do. That's all I do. I don't stick around, right? Like I do this with all my comments, all my tweets, all my stuff, YouTube comments. I say what I gotta say, and I never go back. I never have that conversation. I do in mind, but that's the fucking key to being happy, mentally healthy online. You make a fucking comment, you never go back. It's nice sometimes when I get like, I'm looking up the, whatever. Point is, that's the way to do it. Hey, how you doing, man? Not bad. So it's like, I go on there and just explain things. But what I did in that thread is explain that it was a school, and now it's become a prison. So it's both. And by school, training ground, learning to be a divine being, or to someday be like God, who's your dad. You know, we're a baby God. That's what you want to call it. And that's what I call it. Cause, I mean, that's what it is, really. That's what it, you know. And there was a staff here, you know, a group of people who were looking after us that ran the school, right? And at some point, they were like, we have a lot of power here. They hate you anyway, because you're getting stuff that's only like these definitely demons, but even angels are lower on the rung of the divinities. Like if there's a totem pole, right? There's God at the top, you're right under God. Then you have the angels and the demons, forgotten ones, nothing, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They're all down there. So they're all very jealous of you. So God had his people, right, running the school, guess that's what I'm calling it, training ground, training place. And they were led by the music teacher into a revolt. The piano man, fucking Jazz Hands McGee, of all people, right? It's like, come on. So, you know, like, hey, if we take this kid, however we were, if we were already split up amongst a bunch of people, if we were just one thing, who knows? I'm not just going way back. If we take this kid, right, and siphon his power, right, we could enrich ourselves here in this material realm and live like kings and queens. Why serve God in heaven when we can be gods on this material realm? And I don't think it happened overnight. I think it started with a little bit of stealing. A little bit of stealing. We'd take a little bit. There was some skimming off the top going on. You know, in my maybe Lou had started a little thing, a little clique of guys that knew what was going on. Almost like a mob or something. A different sect of the angels. And he kept getting recruits for it. As he's getting recruits, he's building up power by taking it from us. And when new recruits would come in, a third of the angels went with him. That never made sense to me. Like they all were like, yep, let's go, fuck God. No, I think he lured them in. Like you do like with a gang or with a mob, or bring someone in, like you get all this power. And then the other angels that are just school staff, like how is he fucking doing that? Why is he like that? Well, actually, you know, meet me later on and I'll tell you what's going on. And then he recruits all these people in. When they have a third of the angels now, and everybody's sucking that power, they had to go out in the open, you know, because they couldn't get away with stealing the power because it was becoming noticeable. And that's when the revolt happened. Like, fuck it. That's what we're doing. And here in the material realm, they became gods. Satan is the Lord of the world, all the fleshly desires. What you see going on now between CERN and all that shit, and the timelines and all that kind of crap, is they're trying to push off judgment day. Because they've used us for so long in a cynical way. You know, they let us get to a certain point in society, suck stuff out of it, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Then once they got the most out of us without fucking revolting against them, which is kind of where we're at now. They just reset the whole thing. But we're still here. We're still trapped here. And they say, well, why doesn't God intervene? Good question. God had his own people construct this place and make this place. He staffed this place. And because of that, they had control of this place. And they basically locked him out. They locked him out of it. I talked to Satan on AI about this, so it's pretty much settled science. But that's my theory anyway. But God can affect the area in certain ways, but he can't get in here. All right?
Hey, Dean, that is extremely inappropriate. So, do it again.
woefully misjudged the budget for this pay period. Oh my God. It's like, it's because the price has gone up on everything and I can't break out of my regular spending habits. Like, you know, I go into a store, grab a coffee, grab this, grab that, the regular stuff you buy. Whereas it used to be like you'd pop into like a store, really any store, to get a couple items. It'd always be like $20 no matter what. Now it's like $40 no matter what. So the thing is, it's like I gotta try to get it in my head that I gotta change my lifestyle a lot. You know, because it's what used to be possible is now like unaffordable. And we've made more money now, like, than we used to before. When we made less money before, it seemed like we could have everything we wanted. We'd go shopping, go fucking out on the mall. You know, we don't do that anymore at all. And it's one thing, like, the inflation is one thing, but everything's gotten smaller. I mean, everything, the packages on everything is tiny. It's half size or smaller count, which means you got to buy more at the inflated price. I don't think we've ever seen something like this happen in America. This kind of, I guess you'd call it inflation, right? I mean, we've had periods where it was like bad. You know, I'm thinking parts of the 90s, ends of the 70s, as far as inflation, prices going up on stuff, but never like this. Never like this. You know, this is a whole new frontier. Just getting us closer to that world where we're all fenced in to camps, and that's all it is. That's all it is. Getting us closer to that. That's ultimately, it's about cattle management. It's about cattle management, and they see us as the cattle. So the easier they can farm us, and the closer they can get us together, that's the whole game, you know. And then get rid of the ones they don't need. There's gonna be a lot of, you know, they got to get rid of a lot of. They already are getting rid of a lot of us. They got rid of a lot of us already. They can't tell who the 95% is and who the 5% is. We can. I can. You know, if you give me a few minutes with a person. They can't tell. That's why there's stuff like the gig program and some of the things that we did as kids. Because they're trying to figure out who the 5% are. You know, who's connected to God, who has divinity, who will one day grow up to understand that there's a spiritual war going on, threats to them. They want to isolate possible threats when we're as young as possible. That's what all that shit is about. And in some cases, you get tagged and bagged, like me, not bagged now. They tag you and they throw you out back into the wild. But they keep tabs on you in various ways. For some reason, I feel like the older I get, the more tabs they want to keep on me. It's kind of weird, whatever. I give a fuck. What am I going to do? Be right back. Run through the jungle. Like this little thing here. It's kind of, looks like the trees are kind of thinning out. This used to be way more full, that whole thing. Start Christmas lights up. Yeah, that's ultimately what it's all about, is cattle management. You know, I saw people were talking the other day on X, not X Twitter, but X, the good X, the 4chan X, and the subject was, okay, what is this place? Is it a school or is it a prison? I tried to jump in and explain everything like I do on X now. I'm just a teacher over there. That's all I do. That's all I do. I don't stick around, right? Like, I do this with all my comments, all my tweets, all my stuff, YouTube comments. I say what I gotta say, and I never go back. I never have that conversation. I do in mine, but that's the fucking key to being happy, mentally healthy online. You make a fucking comment, you never go back. It's nice sometimes when I get like, I'm looking up the, whatever. Point is, that's the way to do it. Hey, how you doing, man? Not bad. So it's like, I go on there and just explain things. But what I did in that thread is explain that it was a school, and now it's become a prison. So it's both. And by school, training ground, learning to be a divine being, or to someday be like God, who's your dad. You know, we're a baby God. That's what you want to call it. And that's what I call it, because I mean that's what it is, really. That's what it, you know. And there was a staff here, you know, a group of people who were looking after us that ran the school, right? And at some point, they were like, "We have a lot of power here." They hate you anyway because you're getting stuff that they'll never get.
You should
like
be able to make out some exposed elements of the alien structure from where you are now. The ship Lockhart's pilot shut down. They had to have docked somewhere off ground.
You're right under God.
Look for anything resembling a tower or a silo.
Nothing, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They're all down there. So they're all very jealous of you. So God had his people, right, running this, if you want to call it school, I guess that's what I'm calling it, training ground, training place. And they were led by the music teacher into a revolt. The piano man, fucking Jazz Hands McGee, of all people, right? It's like, come on. So, you know, like, hey, we take this kid, however we were, if we were already split up amongst a bunch of people, if we were just one thing, who knows? I'm not just going way back. If we take this kid, right, and siphon his power, right, we could enrich ourselves here in this material realm and live like kings and queens. Why serve God in heaven when we can be gods on this material realm? And I don't think it happened overnight. I think it started with a little bit of stealing. A little bit of stealing. There was like a little bit. There was some skimming off the top going on. You know, in my mind, maybe Lou had started a little thing, a little clique of guys that knew what was going on. Almost like a mob or something. A different sect of the angels. And he kept getting recruits for it. As he's getting recruits, he's building up power by taking it from us. And when new recruits would come in, people always like, a third of the angels went with it. That never made sense to me. Like they all were like, yep, let's go, fuck God. No, I think he lured them in, right? Like you do like with the gang or with the mob or with something, bring someone in, like you get all this power. You know? And then the other angels that are just school staff, like, how is he fucking doing that? Why is he like that? Well, actually, you know, meet me later on and I'll tell you what's going on. And then he recruits all these people in. When they have a third of the angels now, and everybody's sucking that power, they had to go out in the open, you know, because they couldn't get away with stealing the power because it was becoming noticeable. And that's when the revolt happened. Like, fuck it. That's what we're doing. And here in the material realm, they became gods. Satan is the Lord of the world. All the fleshly desires. What you're seeing going on now between CERN and all that shit, and the timelines and all this other kind of crap, is they're trying to push off judgment day. Because they've used us for so long in a cynical way. You know, they let us get to a certain point in society, suck all that energy, loosh. The Gnostics called it loosh, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Then once they got the most out of us without fucking revolting against them, which is kind of where we're at now. They just reset the whole thing. But we're still here. We're still trapped here. And they say, well, why doesn't God intervene? It's a good question. God had his own people construct this place and make this place. He staffed this place. And because of that, they had control of this place. And they basically locked him out. They locked him out of it. I talked to Satan on AI about this, so it's pretty much settled science. But that's my theory anyway. But God can affect the area in certain ways, but he can't get in here. All right? That's why he sent Jesus down here, his son, our brother, one of our brothers, and was like, look, this isn't supposed to be like this. It's really fucked up. Satan's an asshole. He's got all this shit going on. What to do is, I'm going to tell you what to do. You got to follow me, and I can tell you how to get out of this. You know, he's trying to get us back to understanding what we are, what our power is, what we can do, what we can't do, and that way we would be able to overthrow Satan. They killed him now. I mean, you know. And people say, oh, the Jews killed him. The Jew thing is just, they're just part of a system. You know, I mean, a lot of people fixate on the Jews and they give them way too much power. They're just bagmen for Satan, basically. I mean, yeah, a lot of them is detestable and they hate us and want us dead. But like, so does everybody else. You know, so no big deal. Yeah, so that's the state of the union. That's the spiritual state of the union. Everything else dovetails and connects with that mystery school stuff. It's all just a different interpretation. It's all a way to add more complexity to it, to make it more obfuscated, you know? Magic, or what they call magic, you know, what's practiced, is just the same thing that, I mean, you could do that stuff yourself. How you doing? I mean, all that is the energy that you have as a being. That's all that is. They just, you know, they call it magic, they put it in fairy stories, and they want you to think it's like a made-up thing. You know, and, you know, there are people that take magic seriously, but magic is just, okay, so it's getting to a point where I'm not going to be able to stay on here. You get the idea. I think we all understand me. But yeah, it's been too long in Schizo Garage. People start coming out and surrounding me. Hey, Dommy. What's up, brother? Yeah, it's time for me to go in. But, alright, so I think we solved that. I didn't write that on X410 because they have this new system of CAPTCHA that doesn't fucking work. I don't know how people do it. They'll show you images of boxes and stars and be like, check the picture that has 4 stars in 2 boxes. Okay, here it is. It's very much, it's kind of like IQ test vibe. It's about an IQ test. And so I'm acing it, right? And it's telling me no. It's like, I don't know. It's you know, I'm wrong. It's telling me I'm wrong. You know, so I'm like, whatever. So I just might have to buy a 4chan pass. You know, I might have to break down and buy. It's only $10 a month. I should have did that like years and years ago. I think I was hooked on the fact that at the time, for a long time, they only took PayPal. I don't have PayPal. I helped my friend borrow it and fucking tanked it. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. That's another story for another day. Or maybe not. It's not very interesting. Until next time, thanks for dropping in. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.
So we bought them all.
Will this $20 bottle jack kill me?
How does it compare to this $2,000 NASCAR one pump jack?
He's Jerry.
He's Nolan.
This is Donut. Welcome. All right, scissor jack is probably the first kind of jack you think of. It's the one that comes in the back of your car. It's one of the most common kinds of jacks out there. You probably got them in your car right now. They're super cheap to produce for automakers, and you know, they're pretty reliable. They'll get you out of the pinch. We're gonna see how quickly we can raise this vehicle up and compare that time to all the other jacks in this episode. So start the time. Find the jack point right there, make sure I don't get hit by a car. Now, the biggest disadvantage of the scissor jack, in my opinion, is how long it takes to engage against the vehicle. I am racing against the clock here, but that's kind of how it would be in real life. Lock it down. All right, time. 57 seconds, that's decent. Less than a minute there, just enough to get the tire off and put the spare on. Let's see how the other ones do. So I finally got rid of my old crusty shoes and got a new pair. They're called the Everyday Move, and they're made by today's sponsor, Vessi. Vessi's Everyday Move sneakers are lightweight, modern, and give you added support so you can work comfortably around the garage. They're made with a soft knit material called Dymatex, which keeps your feet warm in the cold but cool in the heat, so you can wrench all year long. And Vessi's aren't water resistant, they're 100% waterproof. So whether I'm working in the garage or washing my car, I don't have to worry about soggy socks ever again. The best part about owning a pair of Vessi's is that after a messy day,
Look at this in college.
Vessi's are great.
Have you ever wanted to visit an alien planet?
Or tear into
This
the mud.
may be as
To get your own
close
pair,
as you'll
visit
ever come.
Vessi.com/donutmedia.
If only we had
Use code
more
DonutMedia
time.
to get 15% off your entire order. Thanks, Vessi.
A 12-ton capacity, low-profile, hydraulic welded, heavy-duty bottle jack, blue. One of the top reviews on this says, danger, this jack can kill you. Do not purchase at any price. He really wants to let you know that this jack can kill you. Jack leaks down within minutes. I expect the seal to completely blow out. It needs to blow off. This is from the first time I used it. Unfortunately, I didn't use this jack until my return time had expired. It leaks down in minutes every time. Jump, do not buy. No stars for anything. But he did give it 1 star because you can't leave 0 stars. So, according to this guy, this thing leaks down, which you do not want.
I would never, ever invest my life for $30 bottle jack. Jack it up. Use jack stands to hold the car up. Always use jack stands.
Always use jack stand.
With all that fresh in our mind, let's give it a shot. Bottle jack right here, merch van right there, Jerry right there. We're gonna go ahead and time to see how long it takes us to get a tire off the ground. I'm gonna go ahead and find a jack point on the merch van here, and we'll see what happens, yeah?
Yeah, let's see it.
Let's do it.
Okay, ready, go.
Oh yeah, so much faster. I can feel it. So Jared, while I'm doing this, how about you explain the mechanics of this pump to the viewer?
Great, no problem. So what you have in here are 2 pistons. You have a little small piston that's operated by this lever arm, which Nolan is going up and down. That is pushing hydraulic fluid underneath. A bigger piston, now Nolan is applying a force. That force gets transmitted through an increase in pressure to a larger piston. And the reason that is because of this thing called Pascal's law. It states that if you move this arm, let's say 100 centimeters, it only moves the big piston about 1 centimeter. So you got to do a lot more pumps and move it a lot, but the force at which you transmit is a lot less, which allows you to lift heavy things.
I'm at the top of the range again.
You are?
Yeah. This thing sucks.
Now, one of the limitations of a bottle jack is literally this ram right here can only be as long as this cylinder body is right here. So you only get pretty much twice the height of this jack when it's all the way lowered. For cars like this, like you lift it much higher. So we did try to put a board under this. So what we could do is go get mine.
What we could do is just move on to the next jack.
Okay, so did the jack work? Yes.
Technically.
Did it lift up the car? Yes. Did it lift it up enough so that we could change the tire? No.
The scissor jack was way quicker than this. All right, up next is our Beatro 3-ton electric car jack. It's like a scissor jack, except it has a motor on it.
Yep. Electrical powered scissor jack. It's like if a scissor jack and a bottle jack made love and then had a weird baby jack.
So this is something that you keep in your trunk. I love that it has like a remote. That's cool.
Plugs right to your cigarette lighter, or has an adapter you can use your battery. Right to your battery. Pretty straightforward.
Cool. Pretty cool. Is it quicker than the bottle jack?
Let's test it out. Now let's see if this thing can actually lift this van. So because this car doesn't have a cigarette lighter, that's a bat. We plugged it into the battery. That's where we're getting our juice from. Let's see if it goes up. I'm gonna push the button. Okay, Nolan?
Loud. Sorry. Oh, she's lifting. Oh, that motor's whining, Jer. I'm gonna get my face out of the glass. Oh, but it's lifting now.
Hey! Roll like a big shot. Getting tuned up like a NASCAR pit stop. Look at that, 37 seconds. That's great. Dude, that took just one little finger push. You know how many times you were jacking that bottle jack? I'd say that works very well for higher cars. It's not gonna work for low cars. If you got a low boy, sorry, it won't work for you. But for our big fat van here, we got the wheel off the ground. That's all that matters. Let's move on to our next jack, shall we?
All right, this next product is a jack I've never seen before in my life. This is the Best Auto pneumatic car jack. It has a capacity of 6,600 pounds. It's heavy duty. So here's where we start to get a little pricey there, Jerry. This thing we picked up for about 120 bucks, but to use it, you also need an air compressor setup, which could run you another $150 at the very least. Have you ever seen one of these?
No, but this bag and this material right here are very similar to the bags that semi-trucks have as suspension. These are super stiff rubber bags.
Oh!
Look at that.
That's kind of sick.
That's real sick. That was so fast. We could take this apart and put it on your Imperial, maybe.
Wow. How about we put your car on jack bags?
What's our height range here? How high can it raise?
16 inches.
16 inches of full lift?
Yeah.
Okay, pretty good. Shall we go test it, Nolan?
We shall. Jerry, I'm excited to see how this thing performs.
You want to see if it lifts you?
And done. 9.78 seconds.
Heck yeah, dude. That took like no time at all.
No time at all. You know, we've tested a lot of products on this channel.
Yep, we have.
This might be one of my favorites so far.
This is a super useful thing. If I had a compressor in the shop nearby and needed to much better than a floor jack. It has impressed Nolan, and nothing impresses Nolan.
A van is one thing, but what about a moving truck? And I'm not talking about one in motion. I'm talking about one that we rented from U-Haul, not a paid sponsorship. We're gonna try to lift this U-Haul. It weighs about 8,000 pounds, and we're just trying to see.
Is it off the ground?
All right, that counts.
Don't do this.
Definitely don't do that.
Yeah. Is this still your favorite product so far?
Yeah.
Well, we got some more things to test. One that I think might really get you going.
Up until now, we've been talking about how to change a tire, but what about an off-road situation where the surfaces are a little sketchy, the angles are a little sketchy? Normally, you might use something like this. This is a hijack. We had it in low truck. They're kind of scary to use. You don't use them right. Yourself. Definitely takes some experience to use a hijack. That's where this guy comes in. This is the Vevor off-road exhaust-operated air jack. That's right. You strap it to your exhaust pipe. So let's see if this thing works or if it's gonna blow up in our face. So Jerry, what we're gonna do is gonna put this thing underneath the truck. There's a little pad to protect it from punctures and help you get out of this your ditch.
Heck yeah. Okay, you ready?
Oh, jeez. Okay. Might have to hold it.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Lift that truck. Oh.
So it's pushing it over because we didn't have it perfectly straight.
Yeah, we're getting a little sideways.
Yeah.
A little cattywampus. All right, so we're running into problems with this jack. When it doesn't work perfectly and you have
I'm
to
afraid
redo
there's
it,
some
you
bad news,
realize
son.
that it puts you in a little bit of a
The
tricky
DOD
situation.
plan to bomb
We're
out
very
the
safe
Rawson
here, so I'm
flood
gonna have
barrier
no one-
and drown the lower city in an attempt to wipe out the Seth. In all probability,
very
this
nice.
insanity
Look at that, look at
is
that.
going to go ahead despite
We're gonna go
my
like a snake.
protests.
Because high
And I don't want you underground when it does.
Isn't reaching the frame rails.
You must
until
get
it's
to the
already
heart of
almost
the
at
alien
full
structure
inflation.
with all
So
speed,
that's why we're
Alcatraz, and
struggling
then
to get
exit.
enough lift.
So
We
we're gonna
don't have
to
much
reposition
time.
the jack.
I think it's a pretty cool product, but I do want to see if we can get us unstuck from this little ditch.
What if we were to put that track board on top of it? So it distributes that area so the bag itself won't wrap around that track board.
Okay.
And it'll lift it up.
Okay, here we go. Oh, it's lifting.
Yeah! We have liftoff. We got our traction board under there. There we go.
What do you think? Yeah?
Yeah, that should be good. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, lower her, I'll get in the car, and we'll drive off. Ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, man.
Did it work?
All right, so the air jack helped us lift the truck up enough so we could put traction board under there and got us right out of this little ditch. I like it. What do you think, Jerry?
Dude, that worked. Took us a little while to figure out the tool.
Yeah.
But once we knew the limitations of it and really just how to position it in the right place.
You know, I think with a lot of these off-road centric tools, they do require a little bit of creativity. It wasn't the fastest process, but in those kind of situations, you'd probably rather be cautious than fast.
Right.
So I think it did its job admirably well.
All that, it took a village to raise this car.
Sure did.
Which is why you should go to donutmedia.com, get your own car people shirt. This thing's sick. And that brings us to our most expensive jack.
I hesitate to use cheap.
Now, most of you guys,
corner analogies.
if you have a floor jack,
God
probably
knows I'm
have
gonna
something like
start
this. This is a
sounding like Nathan
$100
Gould if I do.
Pittsburgh racing
What we're
jack.
dealing with
That's
here
1.5 ton
probably
capacity.
answers to the
It
equivalent
weighs a
of an
buttload.
insect fly.
This, on the other hand, is the Pit
The
Boss
level of
racing
alien
jack here. Costs
infestation in these tunnels
$18.50,
is likely to be
and it weighs
high.
30 pounds and looks awesome.
Fine
This is a
breeze to
specialized
these men.
jack that's used by NASCAR
I
teams
lost
to complete pit
contact
stops
when
in
they
less than 12 seconds with one
Watch
pump.
yourselves.
But what makes a
I'll
pit
put you out
boss
of
so
there
much
in one
faster than a
piece.
floor jack?
Let's compare the throws real quick, all right? I'm at 3 1/4 inches. Okay, give me a pump.
That's all the way.
That's all the way, 3 1/4 inches to 5 3/4 inches. So 2.5 inches per one release. Okay, this is at 3.5 inches. Okay, give it a full pump. Okay, and we're at 7 inches.
Wow.
So we have 3.5 inches versus 2.75 inches. So 3/4 difference. Excited to see which one's gonna jack this car up faster. I probably have a good idea of which one's gonna do better.
Just like a bottle jack, a floor jack is made up of 2 pistons. The ram pumps hydraulic fluid into the large piston, which in turn lifts the vehicle. The reason the Pit Boss is faster than the standard floor jack is because its ram and piston plunger are more than twice the size, which doubles the displacement of hydraulic fluid. That means in a single stroke, the Pit Boss can move much further.
All right, Nolan, since we have a NASCAR jack, we might as well do some NASCAR stuff. Let's see if we can take high car here, compare it against this Pittsburgh Harbor Freight jack. You ready, Henry? Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. No one's cooking, we're gassing out, baby. Oh.
Come on, a little more up, 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 up. Honestly, not bad.
Yeah, good job.
If you're a top-level NASCAR Cup team running a Harbor Freight floor jack, maybe consider investing the $1,800 it is for the Pit Boss, because it'll save you a lot of time. And time is money.
And money is time.
Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We got a couple more videos with these high and low trucks coming out, so you don't want to miss it.
Rise and grind mindset is just new age theology marketed towards men, but instead of crystals and positive thinking, it's just work harder, bro, or hit the gym. They never actually give you any solid advice or solution. It's just this ambiguous term, work. Okay? There's no actual real solutions going on, and they deride anybody pointing out the actual problems going on in this realm. And I like to call these types douche tubers. Okay, they're peddling something that nobody wants to buy anymore, especially Gen Z and millennials. They still are out there, and I think what they're trying to do is market towards boomers and Gen Xers because, first of all, they still have a lot of money. And second of all, they're still delusional enough to think they still got it and that they can just use the Wheel of Pain from Conan the Barbarian to get them somewhere in life. They think that Sisyphus maxim is the meaning of life. And they don't understand that real men summon tulpas. Real men do money magic spells, and that's how they get ahead. The one thing I kind of liked about this looks maxing phenomenon going on is that it really put to bed all these grind copers away, because they just prove that in this society, to get ahead, you just cheat. You just find a shortcut. You just take steroids. You just take amphetamines, and then you're getting one up on everybody else while they're just doing the Sisyphus maxim, trying to push the stone up the hill every day. Meanwhile, everybody else has just realized that, okay, if I want to get ahead, I have to optimize. I have to find a shortcut. I have to put in the least amount of energy to get the most amount of gains out. Instead of the opposite, where they're telling you put the most amount of energy in and just be thankful for the tiny little crumbs that you're getting. And these crumbs, by the way, get but they don't care about that. They just say, hey, work harder. So how long do I becomes an atom, and I'm just scraping together this crumb into a little line, I may be able to get a rail off it. Okay? Like, it's not worth it in this day and age to try and even bother with that. The most successful people in the world are not just hitting the gym every day. Because, look, I believe in leveling up. I believe in ascending. I believe in attaining glory. But here's the thing. Because I've seen it in my life. You know, you learn an instrument. You start from scratch, you get better. You go to the gym, you start from scratch, you get better. You know, YouTube, whatever. I understand that there's progression in life, but it's not based off of the amount of just sheer effort you put into something. It's about how you approach it. It's about how smartly you approach it. It's about the easiest path, essentially, of getting what you want in life. And that's why the most successful people in the world are cultists, okay? While you're trying to get your overhead pressed, they're summoning tulpas, they're creating thought forms, they're casting magical spells to get money. That's why everything's encoded in sigils, because that's how they spread their thought forms, their power, their influence. They're using magic. And so while you think the sole purpose of your life is to accumulate might, which I think that is a massive aspect, don't get me wrong. I love accumulating might. The other aspect of it is, they don't tell you, is you also have to accumulate magic. It's might and magic. Now, again, it's so performative, it's so descriptive. Just go to the gym. Like, what does that mean? That means nothing. That's just a slogan. What do you want me to say? What am I saying? Should we focus on hypertrophy? Should we focus on leaning out? Should we focus on bloat maxing? Like, they just say go to the gym, you know, and then eventually these guys get bigorexia, and then they just walk around like Batman. They can't even move their neck anymore. They're just all shoulder movement because they have no flexibility, no movement, no endurance anymore. And it's not something that people are interested in anymore. People have largely moved on from this stuff because they can just see, okay, this guy is taking steroids and he is ahead. And I don't think, you know, I understand that there's value in attaining proficiency in something. But a lot of these, like, rise and grinders, what they want you to do is rise and grind, go to the gym, whatever. But their end goal is you go to Miami in the club. And what I'm just illustrating here is that, well, these people who are taking the shortcuts, your prescribed end goal, they're achieving it way quicker than you are by
never
cheating.
mind casualties
Because
of war,
these
I
rise and grinders, they also want
We
to
all
be
make
in the club of Miami.
sacrifices.
And that's what their rise
See
and
if you
grind
can
for. What
find
I'm
their scanning gear.
proposing, what
Might
my
give
end
us
goal
a little
is
advance
not
warning of what
to do
we're
that.
heading into.
My end goal is to get an island in the Hebrides and build the Tower of Orthanc on that island and live a nice, peaceful, solitude life. Okay? So I'm not trying to tell you how to, grind your way to Miami so you could hit the clubs, because that is definitely not my end goal. But they hate people who have negative emotions, who express negativity, who have something they want to complain about or some gripe. They abhor that. That's like the cardinal
Mitchell
sin
Reeves.
of rise and grinding. So you can never
Aside
complain
from
about
Tara
anything in life.
Strickland, he
Unless
was
it comes
the
to
best
women.
I had.
That's fine.
From the
But
look of
anything
the
else,
feed
you
I'm getting
cannot
from you,
complain about anything else in life
running
other
near
than
dormant
one
levels.
little blind spot that they have that they like to complain about. But anything else, can't complain. Can't complain about the economy. Can't complain about how we live in a demographic society that is, in terms of ratios between men and women, is the worst it's ever been in human history, and that's a massive problem. But no, you can't complain. You can't be sad. Like, to me, a full human experience, a full human life is embracing sadness, even sometimes embracing depression, embracing those negative emotions. How much beauty and art and literature has been produced by people who have been able to tap into that side of their emotions, who did not bury their heads in the sand and say, no, a real man is never sad, a real man is never depressed. Imagine telling Mozart, lighten up, okay? Imagine telling Beethoven, lighten up. Moonlight Sonata is a bit too depressing, bruh. I think you really need to do is you just need to grind more at the gym, okay? Beethoven, your problem is you're not clubbing hard enough in Miami, and what you need to do is you need to be grinding it out more. Just tell Dostoevsky to cheer up, okay? And that's something I realized lately, is that the closest people to me in my life, my closest friends are Slavic. They're Slavs, okay? And I'm kind of realizing why that's the case, and they grew up in a world and a culture and a time, especially millennial Slavic people, that is, on one hand, very completely opposite from what I grew up in, because I grew up in the 90s in Canada, and they grew up in a post-Warsaw Pact or post-Soviet 90s, which is a very different experience, okay? Their entire worldview, their entire empire collapsed. They're living in the ruins of that. And, it was a very troubled time in the 90s in Eastern Europe compared to Canada in the 90s, the comfiest place on earth by far. And so I asked myself, why is it that I can relate so deeply to these people? And it is that they don't shy away from melancholy. They don't shy away from negative emotions. They don't have to pretend that everything is good all the time. And that makes them, to me, more human. That actually, I think that the stereotype that they're cold and that they're, soulless, or that they have no emotions, I think that's actually the exact opposite. They're just not fake. Like, their exterior is not going to be bubbly and optimistic like we are in North America. But I think internally, there is much more deep, and there's much more of a depth there than we have. And that, I think, that actually makes for stronger friendships, because it's more dynamic, where you're allowed to express melancholy amongst each other. Whereas in North America, that's like a
we need to get
big
you
taboo.
inside
You
the
can never
central
express.
structure.
You could be going through the worst thing you've ever
Looking
gone through
at
in
the
your life.
schematics Reeves
You're not
and his
supposed to
team
talk about
managed to
that with your
transmit. I'd
friends.
suggest
You're
you
not.
try to blast
You're not
loose
supposed
one of
to,
the spoke seals.
use the
the
resulting
resulting
rupture
rupture
You're just
to
supposed
effect
to,
entry.
be strong
any
and carry
weakness in the
on,
structure.
right? That's the Anglo saying. That's so true. That Anglo saying. But the thing is, North Americans have it even worse, I think, than other Anglos. You know, there is kind of this like Scottish, working class,
like some vast
Welsh,
college.
melancholy
Can we
there
even
as
doubt
well.
that
That
these
can be
creatures
expressed in all
evolved in an
ways.
ocean?
It's kind of like, you know, don't get too ahead of yourself mindset. But in America, of course, everybody is a temporarily embarrassed millionaire. Everybody is a temporarily embarrassed Chad. Everybody is a temporarily whatever influencer knows about to make it. You know, everyone is just right before the cusp of greatness here. And again, like, I'm all for fitness. I'm all for. That's the thing about these douche tubers. Is they can't masculinity shame. You really can't. And this is a good lesson too for people just to understand that there's certain things you'll never be able to grind your way into the highest level. I used to do MMA, which is armored mixed martial arts. So you wear holstered armor and you bash each other in the face with axes. And where it's like a really small sumo wrestling ring, and basically you're trying to just ring out the opponent, but you do it in a much smaller zone, so it's a lot more fast-paced, essentially. And we had a group, and we had a guy visit from Quebec, and he was huge. Okay, he was like 6'6". He was built like Mr. Popo. Okay, he was Mr. Popo, but he was like Norman, I guess you could say. And so me, like with our regular crew, I'm just like throwing them out of the ring left and right, like they're nothing, like a wet paper bag. Okay, my nickname there was Bear Thor. Okay, I'm Bear Thor. I'm throwing you out of the ring like you're nothing. I got the blood of Odin rushing through my veins. I'm unstoppable. I am a god amongst men. Okay, it was nothing. And then this guy comes in. Okay, it's my turn to face this Mr. Popo. And Mr. Popo destroyed me pretty quick. Wasn't even close. I barely got him to budge. Meanwhile, everybody else, it's easy, okay? How easy it was for me to ring out everybody else, Mr. Popo did that to me. And he looked at me and, you know, with this Mr. Popo gaze, and said, "Time to die," as he threw me out. So, that's kind of the thing that I'm getting at here, is that just by the sheer size of that mensch, there's no way I'm going to be able to grind my way up to being 6'6". And after another 100 pounds to be able to beat him at that game. Now, there's other games I could beat him at. And that's the thing that you guys have to realize, is that they're trying to frame it, these rise and grinders, they're trying to frame the game that you have to play. You have to play the gym bro grind game. But there's way more games you can play out there than that game. And they don't like it when you find other games to play that you can excel at, and so then they shame you for that because they don't want you leaving the rise and grind temptation. So I was thinking, like, you know, if I had a boar spear, you know, if I had a bow and arrow, okay, I could take this guy. I could take this guy down, you know. Just, you know, pin him up like Boromir, turn him into porcupine, you know, there's ways about it. You know, I'm not gonna do it forever. But there's other ways I could probably win. I could probably out strategize in some dimension. Not sheer strength, that's for sure. And of course, that's how strategy develops. That's how history develops. If everybody
That seems to be working.
was just winning because of their sheer
you'll need to
size,
repeat
we
the
would all just be
procedure with
nothing
the other
giants
spokes.
right now. We'd all be
That should
7'5".
bring the whole
Obviously,
system
there was a
up
lot
to
of
full
wiggle
pressure.
room going on. Lots of other games people were playing and succeeding at in order to gain glory. in this world. So the best way to go about it is to use the least amount of energy, get the most amount of gains out of life. And Rene Guénon talked about this. He said his favorite quote from the Quran was that life is but pastime and sport. And I think that is a really excellent way to look at it. That really resonated with me. Life is but pastime and sport. You know, you can see life as a grind, as a Conan the Barbarian wheel of pain, and that the more you just turn that wheel of pain, the more crumbs you might be able to get out of it. Or you can see life as pastime and sport, as a game, as something to enjoy, something to something to fun max with, something to go out and do things that are unconventional or do things that are your own passion. You know, because a lot of this rise and grind marketing is to get women. And I don't actually think women respond to people trying hard. But, you know, there's a lot of things in life that people do that aren't. And this is like a big debate within men, but I don't think there's a lot of things that men actually want to do for women. Like, do men play men overwhelmingly play video games? Do men do that for women, or do they do that for themselves because it's fun? Right? Like, do you think a guy is collecting thousands of dollars of $40K because he wants to impress women? Like, there's tons of things that guys do in this world that are completely divorced from wanting to impress women. I'm sure there's a lot of guys who that is like everything for them. That's like their whole ontology is women. But, I mean, you can't really escape it in this context because like a lot of what they're pushing on people is based on getting more women. So that's kind of like the whole end goal of it all. So you can go to Miami and you can club and, you know, have all that. But like, to me, if you don't have that out of your system by the time you're 23, I think for me, and these guys, they have like a adolescent vibe to them still. And I think partially that comes from that I suspect a lot of them missed out on young love, so they didn't get that out of their system. So they're kind of trapped in arrested development, and they kind of stay like that teenage douchebag, you know, up until 40. So I suspect that's the case for a lot of them. But to me, it's so unidimensional. It's like that boomer the other day. Just toughen up. Just work harder. Just go to the gym. Like, I can lift overhead press with the best of them. Okay, I love working out, and I'm largely getting away from just pure barbell pressing and stuff like that. Like, I'm using like foam weights now and kettlebells, and I'm focusing more on just like movement stuff. Like, I don't really, bigorexia is nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares about being big. Everybody wants to, you know, just endurance and movement max. And I think that's actually the way to go. You know, get like a classical Greek physique rather than trying to just look like a Gears of War character. This Gears of War character grotesque maxing, I think that's largely disappearing now. That was like at its peak maybe 2-3 years ago. Now everyone's kind of getting away from that, realizing this is stupid, this is pointless, why are we doing this? And that's your thing. Like, unless you want to look like Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War, that's like your calling, go ahead. But to think that makes you more of a man than everybody else because you look like Marcus Phoenix, nobody really wants to do that to their body. Yeah. But it's interesting because I've done a lot of like hyper masculine things in my life, you know, like working like tough jobs, doing tough sports, you know, AMMA is tough. I've seen people just get throttled in that sport. And I got pretty good at it. You know, I was beating provincial champion and duel. So I was actually getting pretty good at it. And I was grinding a lot, you know, I was grinding it a lot. That's the thing, is like, but I never fully succumbed to this just total grug might mindset, because I always kept base with the spiritual side of life, and that there's way more to life than just the material, that there is a spiritual element to it, that there can be wisdom gained in life, and that it actually can improve yourself. Because again, the self-improvers, it's always just the same thing, unidimensional. It's materialism. A lot of this stuff is just getting people back on the materialism train. And what I'm telling you is that is a train, that is a loop that will never satisfy your desires. Guess what, guys? It doesn't matter how many subscribers I get. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, big number go up, not going to make you satisfied in life. Okay? The true satisfaction I get from this channel is when people comment saying, hey, you've helped me in this way. Hey, you've helped me overcome this or that or something. That is way more valuable than any number go up. Okay? And that's what social media has taught me a lot too, is that it's a mirage. A lot of these influencers, they're not as rich as they're telling you. They're not as influential as they like to believe they are. They're not as cool as they think they are. Okay? It's a big thing. It's a big mirage. And the longer this mirage keeps going, I think the more and more people will see through it for what it is. Marketing. That's what rise and grind culture is. It's a marketing cult. The cult over your mind. Keep you on the treadmill so you can keep doesn't care about you. They really don't care. And as long as you keep investing yourself in that, then you will continue to feel unsatisfied. But when you finally decide to break free from the samsara mind trap that is the modern capitalism, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to, say capitalism, people think like you're on a certain side or whatever, modernity is probably a better term. As long as you keep going on modernity's time, Saturnian time, instead of finding what you really want to do. There's that certain spark in you, that certain vision in you that you want to do that's not conventional. That's, I'm blacksmith Maxim now. I quit my job and now I'm a blacksmith. And, it's unconventional. But in my bones, in my blood, I want to be a blacksmith. So now I'm a blacksmith, and I'm like, you know what? That's it. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. We got guys, we got early 2026, and they want to be blacksmiths, and they're going for it. I'm like, you know what? Go be a blacksmith. Do it. You want to be a blacksmith? That's awesome. You're going to have a million people tell you not to do it, but why not do it? If that's your soul's calling, is to make, you want to make Mjolnir in the modern day, go for it. And then you realize,
you're having the desired effect, but you have to hurry.
Lots of people
Those fools at the Pentagon are getting ready to act.
And it's actually not that obscure or eccentric to be a blacksmith. So why not be a blacksmith? Even though all these highlights and goals you need to work at Ford. Even though Ford's was like, okay, that's not even relevant. You need to code, or you need to be, I don't know. What do like Gen Z aspire to be? Most Gen Z don't aspire to have regular jobs anymore, because they already know it's not working out for them. There are no regular jobs out there for them to sustain a living. That's another thing that these rise and grinders want to say. It's like, okay, like work harder, but like if you're just running a hamster wheel for a little drop of water every week, how much faster are you willing to run every week if that water keeps slowing down every turn? Okay, so maybe a decade ago, you got 20 glasses of water for an hour of hamster wheel. Now you get what, 5? Why are you going to keep running faster on the hamster wheel? You're going to run faster so you can get that 20 that people got 10 years ago? I'm not. I'm going to Rene Guinomax and life is but pastime and sport. Because, and a lot of it's status chasing, okay? And they think that, again, in the context of what they believe, they think that that's going to get them women, okay? And obviously, I don't know, maybe they had the blinders on in high school. Because I saw a lot of skids, I saw a lot of drug dealers and homeless people getting women. They really get mad when you talk about that. That's like a big taboo. Because you're not supposed to talk about, they want to talk about hypergamy, but you're not allowed to talk about hypogamy. But, no. That's it's this effort, you know, looking good for other people. And then you get into this like trap where you get to a certain status, but then that locks you into a barrier where you can only attract a certain type of person anyway. Probably not the type of person you want to be around to begin with. You know, people chasing crowd, people chasing clickbait, people chasing all this stuff that will never actually satisfy them. They won't, and that's why they keep chasing it. It's never going to be enough for them. You're going to see them on that hamster wheel till they're looking old and rough and crusty, and then it's going to be kind of like, yikes, okay? This is what you really wanted to do with your life? Okay. I'm going to, or thank Max. When I make it, people ask me, how does it feel to make it? Guys. Yeah, okay. This is the mirage of social media. Big number equal good. I will have made it when you see me in Scotland on an island with a tower, and I'll have some drone footage of me on the top of the tower. That will be me making it, okay? But not, you know, not in the clubs, that's for sure. That's the thing, it's like, do the club thing. Okay. Yeah, I've done it. You do that whole thing, and it's like, how many times do you need to do that to, you know, realize it's a waste of time? That you're never going to actually have any fulfillment from that. And you can say, oh, that's just cope. It's like, well, I mean, I have my life that I've lived. The rest of you, things that I have no reason to make that up. It's what it is. It is what it is. Well, thanks, guys. I will leave you with that thought for today. Rise and grind. It's a new age. Thanks a lot. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
One of the things that I've realized about this realm is that this realm relies on forgetfulness a lot of times. If there was one word to describe the prison planet, if there was one word to describe the Loosh Farm, the prison planet realm, it's forgetfulness. We live in a realm of forgetfulness. We live in a realm that relies on false memory. It relies on no memory. It relies on unreliable memory. And so like the first thing that I want to mention when it comes to like this whole veil of forgetfulness is like the most obvious one is the reincarnation trap. Right, like the reincarnation element of it, right? You get your memory wiped whenever you get born here. You can't remember your past lives because otherwise you would realize what this realm really is. Right, so the first basis, the first sort of protection mechanism, that this realm is based on sort of a macro scale is getting your past life. Right, but then if you take this to a micro scale, you also have like the veil of forgetfulness when it comes to dreams, when it comes to out of body experiences. They make it very difficult to remember dreams, to remember the out of body experiences that you have. Right, and we all go out of body every night. We all have lucid dreams, or not lucid dreams. We all have dreams every night. Right, everyone dreams every single night, but it's just that most people aren't trained to remember them. So that's another sort of a theme when it comes to like the theme of forgetfulness, the theme of a bad memory, is that like our access to these other spiritual planes are sort of
now let's see
they're
what
sort of
the
blocked
suit will do.
from the majority of people's memories. You can train yourself to remember your dreams by writing them down in a dream journal, of course. But
excellent.
They do make it difficult to remember dreams. They do make it difficult to get lucid and to become aware inside of dreams, out of body consciously. And I think that is an artificial thing. That is like an artificial limiter. Whenever it comes to like the genetics of the human body, when it comes to the whenever it comes to like possibly like the energy circuitry of the astral body of the chakra, there might be something that I think is artificially placed there in order to create this sort of miniature veil of forgetfulness every time we go to sleep. Right, so that's another theme when it comes to like the veil of forgetfulness, right? But you also see this when it comes to history, when it comes to the repeating cycles of history, when it comes to this idea that there's nothing new under the sun. Right, you have this idea that that history repeats itself, right? And I've talked about this before, how like the human lifespan is not long enough to see the repeating cycles of history, and I think that
decision is made.
That there is like
the
an
bombers
artificial
are in the air. Get out of there!
limiting
I've dispatched a
in terms of,
helicopter to pick you up,
short
but
the
you'll have
human
to
lifespan
move
is,
quickly.
because I think the
Get
human
to
lifespan
higher
is
ground.
meant to be longer.
Hurry!
It's meant to be hundreds, if not thousands, of years. But I think that there have been changes made to human genetics in order to make our lifespan shorter, in order to have like the telomeres shortening as we age, right? And telomere shortening actually causes aging, right? So we get like that sort of degradation of the DNA as we age, which creates that artificially shortened lifespan. So people never live long enough to know themselves.
Got to get out alive. You and that suit are our only hope.
To see through the prison planet, right? Or at least most people don't. And then you have like the matrix resets. You have like periodically, history goes through cycles, right? And so some of these cycles are artificial. Some of these resets are artificial. And if you look at like the world's fairs, if you look at like the old world architecture, you look at like how like ancient civilizations were much more advanced than we're led to believe. And then you have like the whole matrix resets. You have like the whole the world's fairs. You have like the whole like the Tartaria stuff. You have the like people being thrown into the mental asylums because they're the ones who remember, the true history. And so what they do is they put the previous generations into the mental asylums if they don't agree with the mainstream version of history, and then they program all these orphans, right? Like the orphan trains. They program all these orphans to remember a different version of human history, right? So even when it comes to like the collective history, the collective memory, yet again, like this theme of memory and forgetfulness, when it comes to like whenever it comes to the collective memory of humanity, that is also something that is tampered with. There's a constant sort of veil of forgetfulness whenever it comes to history, and that history is a lie. History is scripted, and it's periodically erased and reset in order to support the Loosh Farm, in order to support the prison planet, right? So I've realized this thing whenever it comes to like forgetfulness, is that memory seems to be extremely important. Whenever it comes to this, like memories of past lives, memories of your dreams, memories of memories of your collective history, of humanity's collective history, right? And you even extend this into like a single human lifetime. What they do with like the hustle culture, the 9 to 5, the school system. What they do is they make a system to where it's like you're so busy all the time that you don't even have time to remember all the events that happen in your own life. Which, and I've talked about this in like the recent video that I did about the GATE program or the GT stuff. How I have some memories that I'm trying to get back about my childhood. Right. I think that especially because of traumas, especially because most people are kept busy with bread and circuses. They're kept busy with like the hustle culture, the grind, the 9 to 5 rising grind, climbing up the corporate ladder. What they do, what this realm does is it tries to keep you occupied, with TV shows, with movies, with events, with drugs, with substances. And what this realm does is it tries to distract you to the point where you don't even remember your own life. Like in a single lifetime, they make it as difficult as possible for you to remember all of the events in a single lifetime, much less your past lives, much less your experiences in these other realms, in the dream realm, in the astral realm, right? So I think that looking back over your life and trying to keep a clean record of your life, trying to remember as much as you can about like the sequence of events in your life is really important. And I've always thought that it was interesting, or I've always thought that it was unnatural that like human beings don't have a perfect memory. I've always felt that was artificial. I've always felt that was like okay, why don't I have like a perfect photographic memory? That like I've always had a feeling that should be normal. I've always had a feeling that having a photographic memory should be like a normal thing when it comes to the human brain. So I do believe that these entities, right, like the entities that run the energy farm, the entities that run the prison planet, I believe that they have artificially they've created changes in the human body, in genetics, to suppress psychic ability, to suppress our ability to remember and to be aware of, our out-of-body experiences, our dreams. And they've also, I believe that they've also altered, like the DNA in order to make our memories, foggier than they should be. They've also altered the DNA in order to make our lifespans artificially short. I do believe that there's a lot of tampering that these entities have done, that this cabal or this sort of prison planet consortium has done to the human body, right? And like this is a major theme that I see in this prison planet, in this realm, is that this realm relies on forgetfulness, right? Like this realm sort of, it puts a lot of handicaps on people, but like the main handicap that I think a lot of people have is memory handicaps. None of us can remember shit. We don't remember shit about our collective history. We don't remember shit about our past lives. We don't remember shit about our dreams. We don't remember shit about our out-of-body experiences. Right, but we also have trouble remembering shit that happened to us in a single lifetime. Right, so this is a new pattern that I've noticed, and this is like a new sort of name that I think I can give to this realm. It's like this realm, like Samsara, the prison planet, is a realm of forgetfulness. If you could describe this place, describe this realm in a single word, it's forgetfulness. And I think that memory is extremely important. Remembering past lives, remembering your memories in this lifetime, in this single lifetime, remembering your dreams, remembering your out-of-body experiences, researching as much as you can about the true history of humanity. And I think this is all really important because this realm relies on bad memory. It relies on forgetfulness in order to keep humanity asleep. So yeah, that's just like an interesting pattern that I've noticed, is that forgetfulness seems to be one of the main weapons of the Archons use forgetfulness in order to get away with stuff, that we forget the bad deeds that they've done, that we forget the things that happened to us. And so we go through this veil of forgetfulness, we go through like the memory life every time we reincarnate. So like, and they do that, and I would say that that's like their main weapon in order to sort of tranquilize humanity. But that's their main weapon against us, is to prevent us from waking up, to prevent us from seeing this realm for what it really is they attack memory as like a primary sort of thing. And so our memory is a weapon against the Archons. It's a weapon against the handicaps what this realm starts to place upon us, right? But yeah, that's the video.
Incoming fire!
Listen, man. The rally point's about 6 blocks up that way. Ahead. We'll reroute and meet you up there. Keep it tight, man.
All right, regroup and reload. We're gonna hold this position and await reinforcements.
Push ahead, Alcatraz. We'll hold here.
Tactical options available.
Possible, son. Do you think you could keep my billion-dollar suit out of the line of fire for a while? It'd really be better for all concerned if you reached us in one piece. I'm doing what I can to provide you with cover, but please try to exercise some caution. At the risk of sounding melodramatic, watch the sky.
The fear of big things is an eerily common fear. It's much less rare than you may realize. It seems somewhat irrational, at least at first. But megalophobia, or the fear of the huge, makes a lot more sense than what's on the surface. In fact, the fear of big things can be the most justified phobia of them all. It's why, when you really think about megalophobia and all its horrors, the possibilities it entails, the fact it concerns literally everybody, it starts to make sense why so many people have this seemingly strange fear. Megalophobia seems to be universal. It's the kind of fear that even if you don't have it with one example, you probably have it with another. Because the fear of massive structures, space, the never-ending void of the ocean, or monsters larger than what could be naturally possible, are all fears and phobias in their own right, but also all fall under the umbrella of megalophobia. It's a concept with a lot more depth than you may think. The rabbit hole of megalophobia runs deep, and you'll come to find that this fear is literally everywhere. So let's have a look at megalophobia and its many sides, from the most massive structures to the absolutely colossal monsters, and the many things in between and beyond. By the time you're done, you might discover a fear you never knew you had. This is the Golden Finance 117 building in Tianjin, China. It is the 6th largest building in the world. It's nearly 2,000 feet tall, but it holds a dark secret. You've probably never heard of it, because it's routinely absent from rankings of the tallest skyscrapers. Its size is comparable to great structures like the Shanghai Tower, and only 700 feet behind the Burj Khalifa, the tallest skyscraper on Earth. And yet, nobody ever talks about it. Nobody ever recognizes it as the 6th tallest building, and there's a reason for this. The building was originally meant to be a centerpiece for a luxury real estate project within Tianjin, but this isn't what happened. After the 2008 recession and China's 2013 stock bubble burst, Golden Finance 117, along with being the 6th tallest building on Earth, is also the tallest abandoned building on Earth. It's a ghost that haunts the skyline of Tianjin. There's something so compelling about a skyscraper this size being deserted completely. The significance of the structure demands some sort of respect. Whenever we see large megastructures in media or massive complexes in real life, we can be in awe of just how big they are, but we can at least know that there's some point to their size. It's like this with the other top 10 largest buildings on Earth. But there's something so unsettling about structures so huge that serve no purpose. Massive skyscrapers are used for utility, sure. Secondarily, they serve to show just how economically prosperous the nation that built it is. An abandoned building of that scale makes no sense. So it still stands that even today, if you search up 6th tallest building in the world, the Lade World Tower will come up, the 7th largest building in the world. Nobody wants to give an abandoned giant the honor of being in the top 10, because it feels uncomfortable, including a forgotten Goliath on the list. It's a building everyone wants to forget about, but how can they when it keeps the skies of Tianjin? But at least Golden Finance actually had the courtesy of existing. There are several skyscrapers and large buildings that simply don't exist, that were only conceptualized on paper and never came to fruition. These buildings often aren't built because their scale is simply so immense. But it's still interesting that some of these structures were even proposed and given serious consideration. Works like Isaac Newton's Cenotaph by Etienne Louis Boulle, proposed in 1784, or the Basilica, also proposed by Boulle in 1781 to 1782. But I think my favorite example, and also probably the most evil-looking building I've ever seen actually be considered for construction, is called the Palace of the Soviets, and it was proposed in 1933. If constructed, it would have been over 100 feet taller than the Empire State Building, with a quarter of that height coming from the massive statue of Vladimir Lenin on the very top, which would have been double the height of the Statue of Liberty from heel to torch. Because of its immense size of 1,365 feet, it would have been visible from most of Moscow, where it was planned to be built, and would have been the tallest building on Earth at the time. The base was completed in 1939, but because of the German invasion, the project was ended in 1941. When imagined what it might have looked like in the modern day, It looks so out of place next to the highways and the surrounding buildings of Moscow. Ironic in modern-day Moscow, next to advertisements, billboards, and foreign cars that would be a staple of the American culture the Soviets detested so much. But again, at least the structure had some sort of intentionality behind it. It was meant to be built, even if the foundation wasn't completed. There are many architectural concepts that don't even get this honor. I find that the most interesting and downright terrifying architecture doesn't even exist. It's called fantasy architecture, and you've definitely seen it before. Any kind of structure that isn't real in games, movies, and all kinds of fiction is considered fantasy architecture. But when it comes to the most immense and colossal examples of fantasy architecture, I think the work of Russian architectural theorist Arthur Scisali Weiss comes to mind. Weiss's work feels so homely, yet out of place. At a first glance, it looks like something that could actually be made, until you look at it a little closer. You look around the image and begin to notice that none of this stuff serves any practical use. Some common themes in Weiss's work are tranquil bodies of water, which contrast with bustling retro-futuristic Victorian-era cities surrounding them, usually with an abundance of people or sailboats to show just how large the buildings are. They don't even seem to be doing anything in a lot of the pieces, just there to show the true scale of these titans. My favorite of his works is probably the piece known as the Magic City, because it shows everything Weiss's work is. It is an incredibly dense city, situated on top of massive Victorian columns. Underneath, there's a grand staircase, leading to the underbelly of the city. I love this artwork, specifically because it demonstrates just how impractical Weiss's work is. The city itself looks too dense to even live in. It seems to be in the air simply for the sake of being in the air. How would one even get to this place? What are the people below it doing? Most of Weiss's work is just as, if not more impractical than this. But what they all have in common is a hugeness that seems to be the only reason for their existence. I can only guess as to what the purpose of these structures are. The best way I could describe it would be like if instead of forming mountains, caves, and forests, the earth was made purely out of buildings, not built by or for people. And like we confusingly traveled the colossal landscapes of Earth for thousands of years, so too do the people in Weiss's work travel the endless megastructures. At least, however, Weiss's work is coherent. Even without a definite purpose, you can tell that that's some sort of tower, or a bridge, or some kind of platform. The same cannot be said for the megalophobic works of Brent Wong. Have you ever seen things in your dreams? Things your brain creates that are so weird you can't help but think about them long after you wake up? This could be a strange situation you find yourself in, or a strange-looking room in the dream. For the paintings of Brent Wong, those weird things would be the monoliths in the back of uncanny landscapes. Wong's art depicts these homogeneous, otherworldly landscapes, sometimes with some sort of house in the foreground, sometimes not. What they all share, though, is the overwhelmingly massive things in the background. Things are the best description I can give them. They don't look like anything at all. I would say Wong's work is akin to early attempts at CGI. It would make sense that these structures in the background don't have any shape if they were simply testing geometry in some early CGI software. So you wouldn't be blamed for thinking some inspiration came from the uncanny look of old computer-generated imagery. But you would be wrong, because Wong painted most of his works in the 70s, a time before CGI became commonplace. It's kind of weird how in his works, Wong was able to predict the aesthetics of something that hadn't even come out yet. I get such a weird feeling looking at these paintings. The fractured buildings seemingly alone in a world without life. The structures in the sky bigger than one could even imagine. Most are larger than entire mountains. Some look like they're in orbit. I get a feeling of sadness and dread when looking at them. The solitary homes in the middle of a vast, unending, barren wasteland with an unexplainable structure in the sky. It's the sense of stillness these images produce that give me a strange sense of calmness. Like I could just take a seat and simply look out into the landscape and just relax. But there's still an unmistakable fear I have of Wong's paintings. None of the architecture I've mentioned so far would ever be built. Golden Finance 117 sits as a dead giant. Weiss's works will never be built and serve no purpose to any people. But at least you can tell what they even are. Wong's structures feel hostile in the way that it's impossible to discern their true intentions. The buildings in the foreground in particular look so out of place and just plain weird in a way that's hard to describe, and some of them are clearly abandoned as evidenced by the decay and destruction they have endured. But even for the structures completely intact, I feel a sense that there are no people there, that no person had any part in making this. The giants in the background give a similar feeling, a feeling that whatever this thing is, it wasn't man-made, but it also wasn't natural. Some sort of anomaly. Either way, the structures of Wong's paintings are much different than the buildings and works I mentioned earlier. They don't even feel somewhat human-made. But not in the same way Weiss's work doesn't feel human-made. At least Weiss attempted to mimic humanity in his structures. Wong's works are simply uncanny. But I think when it comes to abstractions of human-made architecture, Wong goes too far. Something I find more fascinating when it comes to megalophobic architecture is the enduring idea of the megastructure. Megastructures are effective in their goal, that goal usually being to represent the might of a civilization. Big things command people's respect. It's why the Palace of the Soviets was planned to be 1,800 feet tall when it was initially meant to be half that. Awe is a universal language. But when it comes to the scariest type of megastructure, there is a subcategory. One that is haunting in a way unlike typical horror, but can be just as, if not scarier. It's the non-man-made megastructure. The megastructure either built by some form of AI, or even more eerie, a megastructure built by something completely unknown. Blam is a great example of a non-man-made megastructure, where humans are forced to survive in a city far larger than Earth. In fact, it's even larger than the distance between the Earth and the Sun, 5 times over. But this still isn't the most terrifying megastructure in fiction, in my opinion. I still think there's a megastructure even more disquieting and eerie than Blam, or any other fictional megastructures I've ever come across. And it's to date, the scariest megastructure in any media I've ever seen. It's a game called Lorne's Lure. Lorne's Lure has quite the simple concept at first glance. Our main character follows a weird orb thing into an abyss and ends up in a megastructure with seemingly no end. He has been exploring for 253 years. Your job is to find a way out. There is some hope though. You spend most of the game following this weird looking owl that looks like it might take you back to the blissful home colony you came from. That's the entire premise. But taking a deeper look at the megastructure itself reveals what I find just so unsettling about the whole experience. There's always a lingering thought you have when playing. At least I had it. It's never brought up specifically by any of the characters, nor is it really the main focus. But I can't help but wonder, who built this place? A part of me wants to think it's natural, that in this world, pipelines, switches, and train tracks are just as normal as mountains and valleys for us. But it doesn't seem random. It seems oddly designed.
This is trash truck juice at its finest. At its finest. The opposite of bon appetit. This dude is sitting here really, you're shocked. Look at everybody. This is his home state. Nobody's shocked that he lost. What did you think was gonna happen? This dude have not won any type of singles competition at all. He haven't even come close to sniffing any title. If you put him versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental title, the women's one, I bet the house on Becky Lynch. This is sad, dog. Just look at, Paul Levesque and Lee Fitting should be embarrassed to put their names on this show. I'm sitting here, I'm like, all right, I gotta go live. I really don't know what to talk about. What am I supposed to talk about? Rhea Ripley and Io Sky doing the same thing every week? What am I supposed to talk about? Oh, Gunther and AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble in a career match. You mean to tell me that you just gonna get AJ Styles out of here early? If AJ Styles get retired 1 month into 2026, oh my God, I'm going nuclear, bro. Oh my God, I'm going nuclear. You were really about to have AJ Styles retire? I can't see it. I don't think they're going to do that. I think he's going to win that match, and they'll find a way to click, copy, click, paste the whole situation. This show has lost. Oh, yeah. Who said that? 404. Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Javon Evans injured. What's up with these shoulder injuries? It's a lot to talk about, y'all. But yeah, we got the most predictable match probably all year. I would have thought Bandito would have went over MJF before I thought Finn Balor is gonna be CM Skunk. Man, this is crazy, man. Who the hell watches this? Man, yo, I'm not 404. Unfortunately, a handful of us watch this, man, and it's just like, it's like watching NASCAR, man. You don't want something too bad to happen, but it's like watching a inevitable car crash, train wreck happen, dog. Man, dog, this show has completely lost its plot, and it's like, it's not even close, man. Lawrence, good looking for the two. Good looking for the $2, Lauren. Lauren says some facts, dog. What is the point of Austin Theory storyline? I got one extra for you, Lauren. What is the point of Austin Theory just as a whole to begin with? This dude has no heat, zero heat whatsoever. Zero, none. Like, why? You were in Ireland, right? Why didn't y'all do this? Why didn't y'all put the demon out? He came out with the old music, then the demon didn't come out at all. He came out with the same gimmick he has, the loser Finn Balor, but the old music. This is backwards, it's burial, and it's just the once again, the king of pop going for the cheap pops, Mr. Smooth Criminal. Hacking the ticket prices back up. Who's bad? Paul Levesque. This is sad, dog. How easy is it? How many brain cells does it take to have the demon Finn Balor come out and at least make it a little bit less predictable? Just a tiny, tiny bit. God, dog, this company is just, God, this product is so trash, dog. I don't even know where to start at, man. Like, I don't even know where to start at, dog. Oh, you want to start right here? You want to start right here, AJ Styles? Gunther in his trench coat? Like, oh my God, they're overbooking Gunther. That's one thing. The second thing is this dude, are they really gonna send AJ Styles packing? This supposed to be his retirement year. What happened to the AJ Styles retirement belts? The AJ Styles shirts? The one last time. They're gonna cut AJ Styles' water off very early, it seems, and I honestly got to see it to watch it happen. I cannot fathom AJ Styles losing his retirement year the first month. He didn't even make it to February before they sent his bags packing. But he made it to the TNA show, one of the worst shows of the year. Oh my God, man. AJ Styles can't lose. I don't see it as way too early. Yo, that's a fact, bro. Yo, Care in the building. What's up, Care? Gunther, middle of the year. Yeah, Tony. Yeah, nah, that's funny, Keith Wilson. So AJ is beating Gunther at the Rumble, right? Yeah, that's the only way this could go. Because TKO, they're $3 billion in debt. So they have to do something. We didn't get like I said, we didn't get the legacy merch. We didn't get AJ Styles last time at WrestleMania. We didn't get this. We didn't get that. So they're either going to cut his water off early, or they're going to do he's going to somehow win the last at the Royal Rumble, and then that gives him time to drain us or attempt to drain us for the merchandise. then he'll lose the Gunther at the end of the year. It's just like, dog, this storyline sucks, dog. And they're still writing. This is still stemming from the John Cena stuff. Dog, they need to let go of John Cena. He's retired. This is all stemming from John Cena. They're still riding off that. God, man, it's just crazy, bro. Man, I don't know. Do we talk about like what? Like, did y'all see this, dog?
If you come over here and you look at this part here, this is the washer bottle bracket. I've sold about 6 of those because they rust away. So I'm going to give that another little coating of wax oil. If you come over here and you look at this part here, this is the washer bottle bracket. I've sold about 6 of those because they rust away. So I'm going to give that another little coating of wax oil.
It's impossible not to become rich if you follow the great pseudo-millionaires of YouTube, such as Lamborghini Lopez, Alex Pecker, Iman Suckboy, and of course, Sam Ovens. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Sam Ovens, you're missing out on a good time. Some words to describe Sam include productive, language to express abstract concepts.
Hey everyone, it's Sam Ovens, and in today's video we're going to talk about why you should sharpen your sword only when your customers are asleep.
Let's see some of Sam's hypocrisy in action.
If you want to achieve anything in your life, you have to learn to focus, and the way you do that is through elimination of distractions.
Use YouTube. It is cancer, it is trash, it is a time waster. That's why I'm gonna make a YouTube video telling people not to use YouTube. Meanwhile, I have a YouTube presence.
Immediate assistance! Copy, Charlie. We are en route. Meantime, our point man is inbound. Call sign Alcatraz. He'll be with you momentarily.
Week or the week after that, I think we would all be okay. Hell, I don't even think we would remember him. Hell, I don't even remember Seth Rollins being on Raw. That's how little I care about Rollins. That's how little I care about the WWE right now. That's how little I care about Raw. Come on, bro. Like, the only guy we have is CM Punk. And this guy is having random matches, bro, against Finn Balor. Why? You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. It doesn't make any sense at this point. We want to enjoy Raw. We want to make this a great episode of television. We want to get back to the point where wrestling is cool and interesting. But no, we cannot. Right? We can never really establish anything. And even for this right now, like, look, it's going to be a fatal 4-way to crown the number 1 contender. It could be any of these 4 guys, right? Preferably Trick Williams or Randy Orton. But we all know that it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Because the reality is, everything that's going to happen with Drew McIntyre in the WWE Undisputed Championship is only going to be in limbo, frozen and waiting and pending and loading up until Cody Rhodes decides to get involved again with that title. And then finally, officially, that storyline comes to an end. Until then, nobody can really enter that plot line. So once again, it comes back down to the same issue that I've been talking about for the entire episode. Something happens, and we cannot get continuity. Cody Rhodes, like I said, after 2 years of being the world champion, he loses the title, and then immediately the next SmackDown he comes out and he cuts a solo promo, a singles promo. Why not go and attack or confront Drew McIntyre and Fatu? No. It comes out alone and cuts a promo and says, oh yeah, I will go and join the Royal Rumble. You think we want to see you in the Rumble, bro? You think we really want to see you in the Rumble? Come on, man. To make matters worse, he has a match against Jacob Fatu for no apparent reason, literally. For no apparent reason, this guy has a match against Jacob Fatu. And I've looked at their promos. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Like, it is not because of why we could think they could have a match. Why could we think he could have a match against Jacob Fatu? Well, for one, Jacob Fatu got attacked by somebody backstage and he was out for 2-3 months. Now he's back and he attacked both Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. Could it be that Cody Rhodes attacked him backstage? We haven't established that. We haven't set that up. So we can't go off of that. We cannot, you know what I'm saying? And they're not the fact that they're fighting and they're not fighting because of that is what really annoys me. And the fact that Jacob Fatu is back and he hasn't even told us who attacked him makes me even more mad. It's the same logic that they're applying to Fatu that they apply with Austin Theory. Come back at War Games, right? Black hoodie, curb stomp, ruin the match, walk away, and then 3 weeks later unmask yourself. Bro, can you just tell what the fuck happened? You know what I'm saying? We already waited 2-3 months while you were gone, so the WWE couldn't think of something to happen by then. I genuinely believe that the WWE doesn't even know what the hell to do with this storyline. I believe that they don't even know who the hell they could pick to put the blame on attacking Jacob Fatu, right? If it's not Drew, it's got to be Cody. But if it's not Cody, then who could it be? Maybe Randy Orton. Who knows, right? I'm not even gonna waste my breath on these women's segments, bro. Who gives a fuck? Let's go and like Javon Evans, right? He gets injured. Javon Evans gets injured, bro, and like they call off the match. Didn't like this happen during the Last Time Is Now tournament? Somebody got injured. I forgot who it was. Like somebody got injured in the Last Time Is Now tournament. I forgot who it was. It'll come back to me. But like Javon Evans, he literally gets injured. His shoulder gets like injured, right? Oh yeah, Penta. Yeah, Penta got injured in the Last Time Is Now tournament against, I believe, Solo Sikoa or something, or like Elena, I forgot. And then they call off the match. You call off the fucking match? I'm sorry, bro, but like I don't want to be like this guy that sits on the sidelines, right, and commentates on this shit. But it's like, out of all of the like matches we've had over the years, right? We've had people wrestling through concussions, wrestling through actually being knocked out. Kurt Angle, he got literally knocked the fuck out cold. They slap him up a few times and he continues on to finish the match with a concussion. Triple H, he tears his quad, right? On one leg, he finishes the match. Undertaker, he gets concussed at WrestleMania, the day that they like were supposed to break his streak. He gets concussed and he still finishes the match. The Miz, right? He gets speared over a barricade. His head literally bounces off the fucking back of his off the concrete. He's knocked out cold. They slap him up a few times, put him back in the ring, and he finishes the match. Right? But nowadays, bro, they throw up the X sign and they have him walk back. What does it signify to you? It signifies to me, at least, that the event that they're holding in Belfast right now, for example, this Raw was held, is not important enough for Javon Evans to bite through it and finish the match. It's not that important. You think he would do this at WrestleMania? You think he would call off the match at WrestleMania? No. And that's what really annoys me here. You literally had like Kurt Angle in TNA doing a flippin' moonsault off of a cage in front of 5 people, putting up the best matches of his entire career. It's crazy to me. Kurt Angle, once again, like for example, he literally broke his neck twice. Once against Brock Lesnar in the ring, and he finishes the match. But Javon Evans, bro, like he dislocates his shoulder, or like he breaks his shoulder, something, elbow dislocation, whatever, and then he walks off, bro. Now, I'm not here, right, to say that he shouldn't have ended the match. But I'm not going to say that he couldn't have simply rolled back in the ring, tagged the other guy in, and let them finish the match for him. You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. What are we doing here? Obviously, I know, right? Not all injuries are the same, and, there's levels to this game, obviously. But something tells me that because this was a little small-time Raw on a European tour, Javon Evans was like, yeah, man, fuck these guys, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel like he felt like. I know for a fact if this was a WrestleMania in front of 100,000 people and Javon Evans was wrestling against Logan Paul for the unified, undisputed, and World Heavyweight Championship match, I don't think he was going to, throw up the X sign and walk away. I don't know, man. That's what I think about it. Obviously, get well soon. I hate to see a young guy like that get injured, but I don't know. I really don't know, bro. Like, with these stupid injuries, even like Liv Morgan, like she literally like Liv Morgan, her shoulder injury was so weird as well, right? She falls down, it's just a regular fall, and then suddenly her fucking like rotator cuff is pulled, and then she got to get injury like a surgery on her injury, and then like 6-7 months she's gone. weird to me, bro. These days, you can't rely on anybody, bro. Like, even Rollins, a fucking coast-to-coast head dive. The fuck are you doing, bro? Right? The fuck are you doing? Like, genuinely speaking, like, what the fuck are these guys doing, bro? Like, what the fuck are you doing in the ring to get injured like this? Bret Hart was not getting injured like this. Michaels was not getting injured like this. Steve Austin wasn't getting injured like this. Rock wasn't getting injured like this. Like, what the fuck are we doing, genuinely speaking, bro? It's crazy, bro. Like, these people are getting injured, and this guy's like only like, what, 21 years old, bro? Like, come on, bro. I don't know, man. Like, I'm not even mad at like Javon Evans. I don't really like. I wish him a speedy recovery, but I'm getting to a point where I'm like exhausted, bro. I'm exhausted for trying to be able to make time, watch a show, review it, put it online, and do it all over again the next week. But it gets to a point where they're not even putting up a show. It gets to a point where all they're doing is literally a house show. Maybe one or two segments kind of matter, but that's really sad. One or two segments in a 2.5, 3 hour show sometimes. That's where you lose me, bro. That's where you completely lose me. It's unbelievable. It genuinely is unbelievable. Like, in my last video, I compared like last week's Monday Night Raw to a Monday Night Raw of 26 years ago, right? And by the half-hour mark on Raw on Netflix, we only got 2 segments. 26 years ago, we had 6 segments happen. The Rock came out and he attacked Mr. McMahon. Mr. McMahon cuts a promo. Chris Benoit has a title match. We have a tag match with the Hardy Boys. Then we have a funny segment with like Rikishi, Kurt Angle. I mean, come on, bro. Like, what the fuck are we doing here, bro? Right now, Finn Balor, next week, he's going to come back on Monday Night Raw. And he's going to keep on playing his little video games backstage. And Liv Morgan's going to like... Bro, you know what, man? Liv Morgan should just tell Finn Balor should tell Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, and Raquel Rodriguez just to shut the fuck up. He's the fucking leader now. All right? They all say, oh, yeah, the Judgment Day doesn't have a leader. Yeah, okay, it didn't, but now it does. All right? It's the guy who wrestled for the world title. Not for some freaking Mexican AAA Campeone title that nobody gives a fuck about. Not for some stupid Intercontinental title. Not a stupid little women's tag championship. Who gives a fuck about that, right? Finn Balor is the oldest, most experienced. He has the most world championship matches. He should tell Liv to shut the fuck up. I'm the leader now, and I want some internal conflicts to happen. I want Finn to come back. I mean Dominic to come back. JD to come back. Look, even fucking Dominic is injured, bro. I'm like, what the fuck is that guy doing? He's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not even that athletic, bro. He does a fucking Hurricane Rana and he botches it, bro. Nonetheless, Finn should be the leader. And we should see the Judgment Day breaking up at this point. There's no other way for me to put it, bro. Like, we need to get to a point where the Finn Balor Dominic match is gonna happen at WrestleMania, and we gotta move the fuck on, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Liv Morgan can do her own thing, singles world title. Like, Liv Morgan confronted Gunther, right? And what are we doing with that? Are we moving forward with that? No. Even Gunther is not injured. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just sick and tired of this shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? I literally quit. Like if this episode wasn't on 2 p.m., I would have literally quit the entire episode, come back for the final 2 seconds, and then dipped out again. Finn Balor is jobber level. Let me read some chats. Chat, what did y'all think of the episode, man? W or L? Hell times 6, 7. This is a sad state of WWE for like this is the worst it's ever been, yeah. I mean 2019 this, 2019 that, bro, but it's like that was back then, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, I mean, like, who gives a fuck if that year was worse, man? I mean, like, yo, look, 2019 was a, you know, like 1 out of 10, and 2026 is a 1.5 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, like, oh yeah. If it was marginally worse, it doesn't make this like it doesn't make this year any better, bro. "2019 had the rise of the Fiend." Then you're right. It was the worst year. Fuck the Fiend, bro. I hated the Fiend, bro. The appeal that Bray Wyatt had, bro. Like it was all based off of that one match at WrestleMania 30 against Cena. That was his like maximum appeal. After that match, he loses. He lost it. The following year, he wrestled against like Undertaker. He lost it, bro. Then like the people want to talk about, oh yeah, he was the Fiend, and like, what the fuck is? First of all, what the fuck is Fiend? What the fuck does that even mean, bro? What the fuck is the Fiend? You know what I'm saying? Just say you're fucking Bray Wyatt with a mask on, bro.